Hello Zorgonians, and welcome back to another YouTube video. And this one's going to be pretty short because, I don't know, the topic's pretty short. But, some people are new coming to the channel and I decided to discuss the titles. Alright, so first of all, you're going to see Zorgonian Feeding Time a lot. Zorgonian Feeding Time is a moniker for our channel. It's used to help differentiate us between other channels. If you don't know Zorgonians, you guys are the Zorgonians, we are the Zorgonians, the uploaders, editors, recorders, and the watchers, and the fans, and the viewers. We are all Zorgonians, we're all Zorgonians. Feeding time is because we're kind of like aliens, and in most situations, us humans view aliens as beasts, lower than us, you know? So, I don't know, I just did that, not because I think less of you guys, but because it's kind of just a common misconception about aliens, you know? So yeah, that's the first part of the title. Then there are tons of different names for tons of different stuff that I do. One that's going to be coming tomorrow is An Hour with Zorlin. An Hour with Zorlin is essentially maybe 1 to 4 hours, it really depends. 1 to 4 hours of me just playing any games or game that I want to play, uncut. And mostly, it's kind of like a podcast, sort of. You can just put it in the background, and you can listen to it. It's not meant to be watched actively, like, you're not just supposed to sit down and watch it, because it can be really long, it can be really boring, so I can understand why some people wouldn't want to watch that. It's meant to be watched in the background, you know? So then there are vlogly videos. Vlogly videos are essentially vlogs that I talk about certain things going on the channel and in the community. Then there are randomness updates. That's where I talk about updates for certain series or the channel. And then there's news doodles, which will be coming hopefully soon. And it's basically me going over some news topics for either the real world or YouTube. It really depends. And then finally, well, no, there are probably more. Trying to think of all the different series names. There's the specials playlist. Specials are just outsourced sort of videos. Like, for example, one of them is me playing The Witcher 2, that sort of thing. So these things aren't really gameplays, they're just out of the other playlists. Gameplay videos by Chip and Ty are categorized in their own kind of thing, even though they're not in the playlist. Besides uploads. So yeah. This video is kind of short, so I'm going to supplement it by talking about a few things about the Zorgonians. So, the Zorgonians, now, fourth wall breaking here, skip ahead to this time if you don't want to break the fucking fourth wall. So, fourth wall break, the Zorgonians aren't a real thing. Like, they're not a real thing. The name was meant to bring my friends and I closer together by associating ourselves different from humans. Because some people on the internet, and I say most, but not really, there are a lot of popular people on the internet. Some people on the internet come here because they've been ostracized by social groups and stuff like that. Me personally, I never wanted to be social with people because they're dicks most of the time, so I just didn't try. So I came to the internet. Actually, the first time I actually got into the internet community was 2011. I was like fucking, I was 5 years younger, so I was like 10. I was looking for a walkthrough on Resident Evil 5. I was huge into that game, and I still love it to death. It was one of my favorite games of all time. I played the shit out of that game. I destroyed it. So, I was looking up a walkthrough on Resident Evil 5, and I came across the Let's Play, and I didn't know the difference between that. I was like, oh, is this the same as a walkthrough? I clicked on it. It was Left to Die Team's Resident Evil 5 walkthrough. It was when they were fighting a bug boss in a factory. I laughed the shit out of that. I watched from the beginning to end in like maybe a few days. Like maybe a few days, like maybe more than a few days. But I watched the shit out of that. That was so funny back then to me. Like, I loved it so much. I liked it. I commented it. I basically revered Mitch and his team. It was fucking ridiculous. I loved Mitch and his team. And then I watched his Left to Die videos and all sorts of stuff. It was fucking awesome. So that's when I got onto the internet, and yeah, that's my story personally. But to move on, continuing the fourth wall break here, the Zorgonians is a concept that I made up a while back because I love story making, and the story behind the Zorgonians is that originally they were aliens from a planet similar to Earth, and they were very similar to humans, but they could withstand way more damage, and basically they were way more intelligent, cultural, peaceful, and they were way more badass. They had bounty hunters and warriors and shit. The most of their culture resulted because they wanted to help other peoples, you know. So they sent 4 Zorgonians to Earth, and they ended up dying, but before they died they gave birth to a few different Zorgonians. And to make it short, the 4 Zorgonians were essentially gods, like they're living gods. They had the abilities of gods, even though they're living and they're not really gods, since they're aliens and they have very different abilities than humans. They were living gods, essentially, to most humans. Now, there's a difference between Earth Zorgonians and alien Zorgonians. The alien Zorgonians are way more technologically advanced, even though the Earth Zorgonians are way ahead of Earthlings. The alien Zorgonians haven't been seen for centuries. It's thought to... God, I'm so bad at storytelling. It's thought that they went into space and they haven't been seen for a long time. So the 4 Zorgonians' names were Zorlin. I know, I'm so self-pretentious. I actually came up with the god Zorlin before I named myself Zorlin. So that may tell you something about me. Ismar, Akashar, and Zorana. Yeah, so if you have seen a few of my different social media accounts, I named myself Zorlin, Ismar, Akashar the third, and lore-wise, I'm the 3rd reincarnation of Zorlin the first. I also follow Ismar, and I dislike Akashar. So the 4 Zorgonians, Zorlin was the youngest of the 3 original. Akashar was the middle-aged brother, and then Ismar was the oldest. When they set off on their journey to Egypt, Ismar was around 50 to 60 years Earthling time. In his own years, he was probably much older than that. Akashar was around like 30, late 20s to late 30s. And Akashar was basically a baby at the time. And the story goes that Cleopatra, during her reign, was so fearful that the Zorgonians were going to overthrow her, they exiled them after a prophet told her that this would happen. The 4 Zorgonians left. They aided a Roman caravan from being attacked, and those Romans joined them, and that's why Zorlin's main color is blue, or cyan, if you want to be more specific. If you don't know, cyan is actually Roman for blue. And after they encountered, Zorlin grabbed the Roman commander's blue cloth, or cyan cloth, and that's why his color's named cyan. So, yeah, that's the moniker of Zorlin. He's loves cyan just like I do. And anyways, the story goes that he essentially, Zorlin, Ismar, Akashar, created a small city behind advanced technology. The advanced technology essentially made the environment like right outside the city inhabitable. Whatever humans would venture in, they were judged, and they were either welcome to join or they were sent out into the environment to become one of the afflicted. If they refused to join, they became afflicted, because they couldn't risk Cleopatra sending an army. Even if they didn't pass through completely, they would still be able to hurt the city. So the afflicted's area is known as the dementia. The dementia. It's spelled like dementia and then dementia. So The afflicted are essentially feral humans that have been blessed with thicker skin and better senses. They still don't have higher thinking, but they can kill anything that belongs to them. They tend not to attack Zorgonians, but they will attack any human. It's meant as one of the defenses. Second defense is the constant desert storms and tornadoes and stuff like that. That keeps bigger caravans from passing through. And then the third defense are the sand snakes. Giant genetically modified feral sand snakes that only serve Islam. These sand snakes will attack the bigger caravans that pass through and basically decimate them. And their skin is fucking impenetrable. So they're very hard to kill. Very few Zorgonians have survived. And even Zorlin the First couldn't kill them. Mostly because he didn't want to. So yeah, that's the main story about it, and essentially a few centuries later, Zorlana came along. She was a spy for Cleopatra. She got close to Zorlin, betrayed Cleopatra, and they were betrothed. And at that time, Zorlin was a very powerful warrior, and Akashar was seen as a coward and a funeral goer because he was the god of mourning and death. So Akashar finally snapped and became a worshipper of Feralio, Feralio or Balaue. And Balaue is Latin, roughly, for the beast within. The Feralio was essentially a being that basically was a Zorgonian at one point. It was even supposed to join Zorlin and Akashar, but the first round of Zorgonians, the ones that we don't know the names of, saw darkness in his heart and slaughtered him when he was still a fetus. So Feralio became an evil spirit and was sealed by the first round of Zorgonians, and Ismar was sworn to keep him within the seal. Akashar betrayed Ismar and Zorlin and resurrected Feralio. Feralio sent his horde upon the Zorgonians. There was heavy losses. Akashar was then within the cave of Feralio. Zorlin came to defeat him, and Feralio betrayed Akashar, nearly killed him. Zorlin saved Akashar, and they were all frozen by a spell that Zorlin cast that froze them all, and sooner or later they will all be released. So that's the main story of the Zorgonians. So yeah, that's the main story. And I wrote that all myself, yeah, a few inspirations here and there, but essentially I wanted to make a story for the Zorgonians because we're all a community, guys. We all should love each other and help each other out. We should all do good and feel good, you know? So I made that story to help bind us together, and the Zorgonians to help bind people together and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sorry for the video going on so long. The first like 3 minutes will be a real part of the video. If you stayed for this long, thank you. But yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time, guys. Even though that's not one, so let me fucking try this shit. Thank you guys for watching, and Zorgonians, please rate, comment, like, and subscribe.